Welcome back to the Koa Sports League.
Welcome back to the Koa Sports League.
Welcome back to the Koa Sports League.
We've got live broadcasts like you've never seen before.
Sinclair's holding them off. Cohen's off the front. Giuliano up the inside. Looks like Giuliano's going to time that attack perfectly.
We've got a pre-show like you've never seen before.
And in the race tonight, Alessio has a victim, and he's beaten him twice out of 2 times they've ever raced, and that's Yuri. So he's got the wood, as we like to say.
We've got live workouts like you've never seen before. Seconds to go, 7 seconds to go. Start to grit those teeth, and you've just got to loosen the grip and push a little bit harder.
Performance verification like you've never seen before. Hang on. Whoa. Wait, hey. Mate, you're in the book. What's your Ballantyne? Right, you're in the book, mate. You're in the book. Kent Cross, you're in the book.
And it's all free.
And it's all free.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Koa Sports League Community Race. It's Friday morning in Australia, and we are absolutely pumped. Hello to Tim Ballantyne.
Hello, mate. Good morning. And you've just put a few people to bed there. You said good night. But
good night.
Yeah, we did. Geez, talking about good night. Geez, some of the racing last night, that was unbelievable. So we're actually going to cover off a bit on that because in that unique position where our verified race course actually matches the community race course that we're doing this morning, albeit it's fair to say that given that the community race is a public race, the field is stacked that little bit deeper. You were just telling me earlier about the rating on Zwift Power, mate.
Yeah, so double the amount of riders in the paddock this evening under that 200 marker on Zwift Power. So look to see some huge numbers. We went about 24 minutes flat last night for the 10 laps around the Bell Lap in Crit City. So looking forward, we're about 7 minutes out now, and that paddock is already filling up, as we can see in the background on your screen, Tim.
And it's great to see you're already clicking that pen beautifully, which I can hear already. That's just great. So and then of course following, we do have our halftime show where we've got plenty of stuff happening as well in there. We'll be going through some of the State of Origin. We'll be talking a little bit of Training Peaks data and review, have a look at some replays, and then jumping to our 3-lap Koa Sports League race around the London Classic course. Classic, of course, with a Q, just to be a little bit fancy. And of course, shout out to Nathan Guerrera.
You got it right.
Nathan Guerrera from Zis Community Live for, of course, partnering up there. So great stuff, mate. So, of course, let's jump in and have a look at some of the riders in the paddock tonight.
Yeah, so huge paddock, well over 200 registered. So looking for a huge amount of action as we go around. So first man out of the US of A is Mr. I'm going to call him Edward, we're going to call him Ned, or we're going to call him Ed. So we're not too sure, but we're going to run with Ned Bowen. And check out that photo. He's an ultimate Frisbee legend, this guy. So there you go. So dialing in Ned Bowen, 170 centimetres tall, 68 kilos, an absolute superstar, 310 races under his belt, numerous top 10 finishes in the Koa Sports races. His highest 3 races he's pushed power in the Koa Sports Community Race. So watch for Ned. Yeah, I had a good look through ZP and had a look through those results. So he packs a huge sprint. He's pretty much an all-rounder on all circuits. So this course will suit him really well with those little kickers, 5 little kickers, a little bit of downhill, and a bit of flat over the 2K circuit. So good luck to Ned. And no, I don't think he's broken his arm in that photo. I think that's just how you propel the Frisbee when you do Ultimate Frisbee. And Tim, you might want to tell us what Ultimate Frisbee is as I throw you under the bus.
Ultimate Frisbee, you got no chance. But don't we see that often where the Warrior race brings out the best? We saw last week Scotty Weiss taking the win and setting a new threshold in every category on Zwift Power. Phenomenal performance there by Scott Weiss. So let's have a look at Spencer Downing. And 34 races in and 170 centimetres tall and 55 kilos, Greg. So I'll just jump out of the way there. Sorry, mate. He's far better.
He looks unhappy.
He's a better looking rooster than I am, let me tell you. tell you. So he's a pro cyclist, competed in 2018 USA Cycling National Road Championships. He lives, apparently, according to Greg's research, in Boulder, Colorado. Geez, I'd love to go there one day and visit the team, of course, of Training Peaks, the home of endurance, you would say, in the USA. Probably going to get belted for saying that. And top 20 last week and set an all-time new threshold. So welcome back to Spencer, and good luck today here in the Coa Sports Warrior Race.
Yeah, nice. Good to see so many pro athletes. Obviously, with things happening in the world, we are getting more and more pros coming along to the Coa Sports League and the Coa Sports Community Race as well. On to the third rider. Now, Argentina has popped up as a country of choice for the Coa Sports League, and huge amount of riders. There's over 10 Argentinians in this field this morning. There must be something going on there. So shout out to this man, Ariel Severo, out of Argentina. Now, we couldn't find a photo, so we threw up the great man in there, Lionel Messi. Look at that. So great little soccer player out of Europe there,
Handy.
Lionel.
Handy.
Not too bad on the financial front as well, I wouldn't think. So this guy Lionel, this guy Ariel, very experienced on-road racer, very serious pedigree. Placed 8th in the Argentinian TT Champs in 2016.
Right.
Another road racer, of course. 6th last week in the community race to the great Guerra. So good to see him. He absolutely stomped it down in that finish around the Volcano circuit. So watch for him certainly in the top 10. And always, as always, another jockey joining the Coa Sports League at 61 kilos, 163 centimetres. So he'd be tall enough to about our table height to lean your coffee on as you go around. So good luck to Ariel. Packs a 16 watt per kilo, 15-second sprint. So watch for him in the finish.
Good stuff, mate. So just about a bit over 2 minutes to go before we kick off the action here. Let's hit the stinger. We'll be back down in the paddock very shortly.
Per kilo by Sproul.
Jason's coming back. Chris is coming back over the top.
I like it, Greg, when Kent goes, guys, I'm unmuting you, so don't say anything rude.
We've got to be very careful.
One day he will forget to mute us. So welcome along, of course, Kent Cappuccino Cross.
Thank you very much.
One day he's going to stitch us up, Greg.
One day for sure. He's got all of this stuff
and our careers
recorded.
will be over.
Yep. Well, the fledgling career in broadcasting finished.
That said, we do speak highly of all riders in Zwift.
Absolutely.
Of course, we are always just super positive people.
one,
Last night,
yeah.
Kappa, what was the time roughly last night around on this course?
24 minutes flat there or
24
thereabouts.
flat, and Alex
Yeah.
West took the win. We're going to have a look at that during the halftime show, that finish, because he came late and he came hard. We've got 25 seconds to go here to the start of the Coa Sports League Warrior Race. Probably about 250 starters, I'd say, Greg. About 300 sign-ups, but of course not everyone jumps across. So and some lovely language there by Luca Gilbert. So we'll just put your hand over that, or put the earmuffs on, kids.
That
That must mean something. That might mean something. That might mean
So
something.
good shout out to Luke, who is always at the front of these races. And good to see Eddie Van Halen's in there this morning, Tim. And he has said
Boniface.
that he will push as hard as he can for as long as he can.
Boniface has gone really hard, really early in that green. I can see him all the way up the road already. So laying it down early. But hard to break away on this course, Greg. But the beauty of obviously being on Crit City as well is stick around. These guys will be done in a bit, probably around 22 minutes you'd expect. But we'll be calling through at least 30 minutes. There'll be a lot of finishes. There'll be a lot of riders that we're going to cover. A lot of sprint finishes. And we got that second sprint finish last night. Of course, Reece Howe taking the chockies in that other group of riders. That sort of, I think they were C grade riders. So we definitely try and get back and cover as much of the action as possible.
Absolutely. So definitely we're going to be following there. Shout out to Richard Avery, who I just caught there in C grade, rolling along at the back of that big long train as these guys hit the first lap of those. So this is lap one, sorry. First lap, and they hit those 5 kickers, which go up to 8%. So you've got to push hard through that section. Flattens out through here. See Ryan Giuliano right at the front of that group as well. So when we take this 135-degree left-hander, we'll start to go downhill at 6%. So everything will stay together. You'll see that speed in that top box there, punching up to 60, 65 Ks an hour. And also, Tim, good to see a couple other athletes in there. Cormy, who we highlighted last week out of Ireland, and the Zwift kid, the Commonwealth Bank representative, coming in hot. There he is again on that blue Tron bike in the Vision kit. So huge ride-on bomb. That must have been Tim there dropping a big ride-on bomb as we come through as well.
I do like those indeed. So hit us up on Facebook or YouTube, Twitch, wherever we're watching. We've got our eyes down here on Facebook at the moment on the multiple channels. So shout out to Training Peaks, who their second week now of sharing the stream and getting right beside and in amongst. We've got definitely a flyer there. B Cox has got a trainer issue, so we'll let B Cox get the old cone, as they probably say, as he flies off the front. So let him go anyway. So back in the pack here, we've got Boone, Bosch, and Giuliano. I'm sure Eric Lascelles is in there somewhere, tucked in there, hiding, waiting for the final 2 kilometres to pounce. Always in the top 5, Greg.
Yep, so just about to hit the end of lap 1. You'll see that lap counter come up on the left-hand side any minute. About 100 metres to go here to the finish, and there's the finish arch. And one of the best parts about this event is the athletes will pick up 10 power-ups as they come through. So definitely a range of things there. You've got the aero helmet. What else we got, Tim? The feather. We do have the 10XP, which is Tim's favourite as well.
Comes in handy for the sprint finishes, the 10XP. You just you can just play that exactly at the right time. So RC Ivany, Rick Charlesworth, one of the great supporters, and they're already, see how they're playing the feather power up straight away through these rollers here, just to take the sting off the legs.
Big tip for anyone watching: do not play your feather power up until the 3rd kicker. The last one's the hardest. So I've done this race or this track many times. You'll see them all power out now before they go up that last kicker at 8%. So you want to burn up that on the 3rd ramp. You want to hit that feather. Just a little bit of
good advice, sir.
A little bit of good advice from a genuine B grade athlete. So they're probably going a little bit faster so they can burn them up a little bit earlier.
Good
too.
advice. So nice big front pack, and we'll definitely see, I would say within 4 or 5 laps, we'll start to lap other riders, C and D graders who'll, end up a couple of laps behind. But again, stay with us because we're definitely all about all riders, and we'll definitely call their sprint finishes as well as much as we possibly can. Luke Gilbert there had a little bit of a trainer issue or a technical issue and a dropout, so he is out of the race, but such is life.
Yeah, absolutely. So just having a look here at Eddie Van Halen there at the back of the group. He's still hanging in there. Said he's here for a good time, not a long time. So we'll see how he goes. And just in that front pack, we have 52 riders. 52 riders at the moment in that front group. So huge
around
pack of riders. And good to see so many regular names. There's Pozzolini in there, Josh Brody, Jack Polly, who we highlighted last week, JPV, and Kappa. You've got your hand up, mate. What do you want to tell us?
It's like I'm in school. I just wanted to say that Luke Gilbert is still in the group.
Oh.
He's off the front. Well, not off the front. He's off the front of this pack, so he's still there.
Okay.
pushing hard.
Do we want to go follow him?
Maybe.
Or-
He's just said he
Do you
said
mean-
out before, so there's a
Not sure
comment.
what
We
that
just
means.
might ignore that comment and just pretend that he's still in the pack.
There goes that. Look at that flyer. He's ripping it round. That's
That's
some
a
sort of
12.
power right there.
That's a
called
degrader
bot.
flying through. He's just gone through the finish lap 2. So good to see that. So coming through lap 2, there's that lap counter now down to 8. 8 laps to go, which is 16 kilometres. One of the good things about this course is pretty much a 2K roll around each lap. So here you'll see those power-ups that everyone's just picked up as well. And good to see the dirt team in there. Not too sure what that rider is, but the Dad's Inside Riding Trainers. That's a big, big group in the Zwift community. So huge amount of power-ups being used. And look at some of these heart rates. We're just with Gilbert at the moment. I'm not too sure what that comment was about. So his heart rate, 171 at the moment, 172 as he comes through these rolls.
Yeah, and some of these riders here already, so starting to pull through some of those D-grade riders already. So such is the pace of this peloton at the moment, 45 kilometres per hour through the rollers, if you don't mind, and holding 50s on the flat. So some of the things here, so obviously to distinguish the difference, so we do obviously have some private events, which we're very grateful for at the Coa Sports League, and we run a verified race, talking Australian time, of course, on a Thursday night, and that's for people that have a Training Peaks account. You can, of course, be free as well, a free Training Peaks account connected to us at Coa Sports, and that just gives us visibility over training and racing data, and we can really verify the race and make sure the points really count for something. Of course, this is a great place still in the community and, of course, publicly to cut your teeth and get to know some of the riders. But if you haven't joined the Coa Sports League already, jump across. It's free. It's a bit of fun. There's plenty of videos in there as well, and a very much a growing community now, heading towards the 800 mark very soon, and about 400 verified riders.
Yeah, absolutely. So we did see a little... There's that flyer going again. So it looks a little fly coming past. So did see a little push off the front there from Gilbert, just leading out there and testing a few of the legs back in this group. And good to see Pikey right at the front there as well. This is probably a good course for Pikey. Not too many big hills. So one of the bigger guys going around. So he will really appreciate those shorter rollers as they come through. And we look on the left-hand side there, that is the Watopia mural in Zwift. So you can see some runners there, and you'll also get to see Zwift HQ not too far up the road either.
Nice little pack there, Buzzy Bees there, so we might try and pick those guys up because they seem to be pretty well organised. But this front pack, Greg, we've seen bigger front packs, but they're just holding such a good clip, and they did a lot of work and a lot of damage early to get a lot of attrition, so I'm sure they will pick up some riders. But 7 laps to go here, so they've already clicked over 3 laps and just 7 minutes in, of course. With relation to Crit City, if you haven't raced on it before, just like me, if you take a right-hand turn out of the start gates, that is of course the Bell Lap. If you go left, it's called the Downtown Dolphin.
That's
I
correct,
believe.
Tim. That's
and
correct.
so you can go one of 2 ways, and about 2K lap, and your classic. I think this is a very, very popular with Zwift racing community.
Absolutely. You'll see these guys just about to roll through a D-grade group, and a shout out to Mark Willis, who's just, you'll see him just there at the
Excellent.
bottom of the screen there in that group as well, always working hard and joining us every week on the Coa Sports League workouts, which again are free. You just have to join the league, you get access to those workouts, and they are coached workouts with a Zoom call attached. So jump over and have a look at those.
Suddenly see the odd orange light pop up where the people are stretching the legs or maybe laying down a few attacks. Aiden Sinclair in the front pack again, backing up from last night. Pretty solid performance from Aiden last night, and was very, very lucky there to get some Pain Cave footage, which we brought to you live as well, of him in his Pain Cave. So we're looking to do much more of that and highlight some of the special riders in the Coa Sports League.
Yeah, absolutely. So this front pack, if you're just watching along at home or in the home office at the moment, they might look like they're coasting around, but I've just been going through some of these heart rates, and most of them are sitting at 165 plus. So everyone is working in that group as we see Pikey come to the front again, just at the bottom of that downhill section, which again will suit him really well. We've got Gilbert at the front there, Polly. There's Conti in that front group as well. And the man we highlighted there, Messi's alter ego, Sivery, just rolling straight to the front in that black jersey right now.
Really important that you get the right power up at the right time. So you'll see lots of power ups being played. Of course, those icons that pop up above the avatars' heads, and in the finish, you really want that aero helmet power up to really come through to the finish, which of course we saw last night. But also, once they probably inside with about 5 laps to go, it depends on what sort of risk taker you are. But if you do manage to pick up that aero helmet with about 5 laps to go, you probably just want to hang on to that and save it in the back pocket. But like I said, if you truly need to play it, to stay with the front group. But mind you, most of these guys here, unless there's some sort of big attack, I can't see much attrition off the back at sitting around 300 to 350 watts. I think most of the guys and the names that we're familiar with in here can pretty well sit in and do the work required.
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll see, look, they're all listening to me. They're not burning up those feathers as early as they did in the first lap. So you'll see them start to be played now. And yeah, I'm good at that. So a few feathers being played. If you've got the feather, this is the part of the course to use it. And we see a couple of the draft buses being used there. They're probably more so to stay with the group as they roll through. So this last little kicker out of the park there, 8% as they roll up, that's the real leg biter. And another group of group of athletes there. Bogoff in there as well. Rivera off the front.
Boniface just pushing a little bit off the front there, just asking the question, 7 watts per kilo, if you don't mind. Boniface taking out the league race that followed last week on the Bologna circuit, just took down Aidan Sinclair in the final kilometre of that race. But Boniface, a super high quality rider in the world of Zwift, and responsing there by McLean Cannondale, just coming up on his wheel, but not enough work to get it done. But this is all tactics. This is about stretching the legs out, and like we just sort of picked up there, they just looked like that group was getting a little bit too comfortable for Mind.
Yeah, so Boniface as well with, you'll see Gilbert just rolling back up on the Yellowtron bike there, back up to his wheel. They're in the same team, and they will be working together, no doubt about it. There's 4 of them there in the front 10 of this group at the moment, so they'll definitely have that Discord or something running. And good to see the Canadian flag there on the left-hand side. I'm not too sure who that is, but I haven't seen that jersey before. And there's Leadbeater. We highlighted him pre-race as well. He's coming through that pack.
Yeah, good to see those names in there. S. Gleason as well, Hohen and Vandenberg, Zavori, Ivany, and Dan Jay working his way through to the front. Bickley and Ivany, the Canadians there, just leading the charge off the front there in the green kits as well. So taking control of this race at this point. And this is a very heavily stacked field of Canadians and Americans, as of course it is right there at the moment, Thursday evening.
Absolutely. We're just coming through to pick up another lap banner, and they're coming down halfway through at 11 minutes and 38 seconds. So we're on target for a 22.5-minute clocking, which is unbelievable from these guys. So I'm sure it'll get ripped up in the last couple of laps as well. So some huge numbers being dropped here, and that attrition is starting to happen in this front group. We're down to about 45 riders.
And make sure you stick around, of course, following this race, and we'll call through multiple finishes. We do have our halftime show, which we kicked off last week. We'll be talking a lot of Zwift chat and a lot of different topics, so look out for that.
Yeah, huge. Good little stinger there. Sorry to interrupt you on the way through, but we're doing a few things here at the moment. So good to see. That halftime chat is going to be huge. We've got a lot of content to get out there, and if you are interested in hearing about some of the riders, we're going to build that every week, week in, week out. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And as coaches, we'll what we're going to try and bring in over the next few weeks is a bit more training peaks and content about some of the data that we see in the races and what that all sort of means, the intensity factors, the lifting in FTP, where potentially athletes went a bit wrong, and trying to educate through that show as well. So if you're trying to get a little bit better potentially at Zwift races, or maybe you're just trying to get better as an athlete, stick around for the halftime show.
And if you want to get better at your comedy, probably not watch us. Or maybe
good time to bring in Kappa, I would have thought.
We can pick up that too.
I thought I was known for my facts, mate.
Facts,
Greg finds some comedic value from it, don't he?
Really poor quality. But we will have another fact coming back to the next podcast. We missed out last time, Kappa, and I've had a bit of feedback from people about the latest podcast. Let's talk about that for a second, Tim. We had the great Nathan
Guerrera
on there, and he took us through an amazing story. So have a listen to that. If the first half an hour doesn't bite you on the bum, you shouldn't be. I don't know what you should be doing.
I didn't know Nathan.
Just listen to it.
I didn't know Nathan had been to jail. Put it that way.
There you go.
That's of course in the promo, and he gave us a clip because Guerra There's no W, and he said you've got to get the Carrera in there.
Carrera.
So we like saying that now. It actually sounds way
Carrera.
better. But I'm sure people butcher lots of surnames. 4 laps to go here in the Coa Sports Warrior race. Alex Side still in there. Real surprise from team dropouts. Usually he has dropped out by now, not for his reason. We've got Harding in there, Bickley, Henson, Lozelle will be in there, I believe. Aiden Sinclair hanging beautifully. Can he get the right power up? This is what I mean. You may see a little less icons being played at this point because that would suggest that they probably have what they need. Now, we do see some aero helmets being played at this point, so a big risk, unless you actually just need to simply play it to hang in there, but a big risk to play that because that's the one that you want here on the circuit.
Yeah, I'd probably play for luck knowing that you had 3 more to get. So
you would. That's why you walk out of casinos with empty pockets.
Yeah, that's right. Knowing me, I get 3 10 XPs on the way through to the finish. So there's definitely some strategy to withhold in this race as well. So we just went past Salazar.
Keep our eyes
there.
on for some attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. So not too far to go. So Zwift Power has us on an ETA of 23 minutes and 45 seconds right now.
Yeah. Ruriz in there, Harding, Raff, McLean moving through to the front, Van Halen at the back there sitting really smartly, T. Hoare in the back as well. Bickley's been sitting about 10th, 12th the whole time. JPV likes to roll through to the front, such is the nature of the way that man rides, and Sinclair sitting about probably 6th at the moment, 1/3 of the way back through the main peloton.
And a shout out to a few people running the. We've got a female athlete, Mum's Inside Training. Mum's, well, it says MON. Mum is spelled MUM. I don't care where you live in the world. So shout out to the girls and guys. Oh, obviously girls at Mum's Inside Training. And not too sure the athlete they're highlighting there at the moment. We'll try to pick that up. And it's been shared out by Messiino as well.
Good to see.
Great to see. And a whole heap of athletes. She is absolutely busting it in 95th position at the moment.
Having a drink, so doing well. So lead beater in there, Muir, RC, Ivany and Araldi there. Will we see some attacks before the final 2 laps here in the race? And be interesting to see a little bit of banter there on the right-hand side as well. So Sinclair just rolls through to the back in the Oliver's kit there, just sitting not at 1 out, 1 back. He's about 1 out and about 50 back at the moment, but a good place to be, Greg, just where you sort of want to be. And they're going to roll through a pretty tidy pack here as well and come through these guys. So with just 3 laps to go, we've got a nice peloton just up ahead of them, just that carrot up the road that they can move their way through. But that will be a humdinger of a finish as well.
That's a great group there. Look at the amount of Tron bikes in that group. So some very strong athletes through there. We'll try and pick up some names as we come through.
It'll be B-grade
just
and
to
C.
give them a bit of a shout out. But some very experienced Swift racers, no doubt, in that front group. As we do have a rider in green there again, going off the front, straight around that group and launching an attack up the road there at the moment. So
response there also. So the 3 riders in green now, just moving 4 riders in green. The big train there moving off the front. So we've certainly got a team there taking control. We've got the dropout, Boniface there moving across and everyone responding. So maybe just playing ducks and drakes there. They move through that peloton and it just kind of threw the leaderboard at the side. Little tactics, little sneaky tactics, Greg, where you can sort of break away because it looks like there is still someone broken away right off the front. That's going to be a nightmare to try and pick up through this traffic. But we've got an eye up there and it looks like it's Bickley potentially there. Bickley at 8 watts per kilo as Kappa tries to grab a mouse. He's got really no hope at the moment. Bickley comes across and the Crit City race always throws in a curveball. Luke Gilbert and someone up the road there. We'll try and pick it up on Zwift Power as well. It could be...
It's Jemrazik, and he's
Daniel
a dropouts
Jemrazik.
rider. Definitely a dropouts rider. We know that in the green kit. So
7 seconds.
He's 7 seconds up the street. And going across now, trying to bridge up to that gap is Gilbert as well. So he's got a 1 second break on the main group now, and a few more coming back to him now. So
7 seconds up the road is Jamrazik, and we'll try and jump up there. We'll do the very best we can. But that's some of the, that's definitely, so it's Dan J there. So that's some of the tactics that you can use on this course. And you actually get eaten back in the end, but you can hide it amongst the packs and work. It's a bit like ghosting, but without actually ghosting.
Without being a ghost. So, so Dan coming back to the group there, and it looks like we might still have McLean just off the front there. I'm not too sure. Just trying to pick him up. He's just 1 second up the road there as well. So, and coming back to the group though. So 2 laps to go now, and not too far. This group's all coming back together. There we go. So we're all back together. We've gone through a whole lot of traffic. Let's
Wow.
hope we don't have too much more traffic in the last 2 laps.
On that third lap, I think we went through about 50 riders there, but and you get a little bit of a tow along and a little bit of wind burn on the other side, but certainly that'll make for some exciting broadcasting there as some of the riders working relative to their FTP and thresholds just as hard as these guys here. But these guys just have a little bit of a more of a top end in A grade, which is the way it works. So Aiden Sinclair has been sitting sort of about, 6th towards the back of the pack, starting to roll his way through. Alex Side in there, Jay Campbell, Cuevas, and of course Strenger and Van Heusen. Boniface certainly one to watch. We know Boniface is a high quality rider. 8.8 watts per kilo now by Boniface as he starts to ask the question. He likes those little hills. He asks the question through those rollers all the time. Van Heusen, his teammate, moving up on the right hand side there. Pozzolini now and Muir closing that gap across, but Boniface doing a lot of the hard work early.
Watch for Gilbert in this finish, Tim. His teammates have been leading this out all race. So watch for him. And the other athlete I have not seen off Nobbies is Lozelle. So just checking if he's actually in the group. But haven't seen Lozelle whatsoever. Doesn't look like he's quite in there. And one thing to note is that front group now is down to 40 riders. And the gap back to the second group's 45 seconds. So once you pop, you're gone in this race. There's Ivany as well just coming across there to shut that attack
A lot of
down.
these riders here in the front pack are members of the Coa Sports League as well, which is of course free. You would have seen that pop up. So jump across and join during the broadcast or following the broadcast and we'll get you into the league. It is free and a lot of these riders also are verified, I will point out as well. Boniface doing so much of the work early. It'd be interesting to see whether he genuinely has burned any matches, whether he's got the big sprint in the finish. But some of his teammates there all in the green looking pretty strong at this point. But we haven't seen the likes of Giuliano do too much work towards the front as well. There he is right there,
Yeah,
draft.
expect Giuliano. We're going to have 2Ks to go when we take this right-hand corner very shortly and coming through the finish. So expect to see some huge attacks now. Giuliano will have to go long and go hard to keep these sprinters away. So watch for him push it straight off the front.
Final lap to go here in the Coa Sports League Warrior race here in the community. We had 219 starters last week, a little over 300. So over 500 riders in just 2 weeks of racing here in the Coa Sports League community. We love to see everyone getting involved. So Muir, lead beater, and we've got, of course, all the guys there in green from Team Dropouts as they're starting to get their kits all organised. Vandenberg Downing there, 8 watts per kilo. We'll see a little bit of jumping around and things will start to flatten out and teams will start to get organised.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I wouldn't be surprised actually to see an attack. There's Hoon there, 8.1 watts a kilo. Out of this little park area here, this is where the bang, we see a few attacks. Look at that group thin right out there. They've pushed it hard through that area. And we're just with Luke G now at the moment, 182 beats a minute. I've got my money on him. That means he can't win. But they're just going to hit this turn now and go downhill. We've got Alex Side just putting profanity up there, but we'll leave that where it is.
Yeah, a lot of damage and happening there on the second lap to go off, second last lap, I should say. We lost about half of that front pack, I reckon, or at least a third. McLean here off the front. He's got a 1 second gap main to the back pack. They'll certainly close that down. We saw 6 seconds closed in the final 300 metres last night by Alex West of Canyons ECC. Let's see some of those big numbers coming up here in the final minute, I would say.
1K to go. So, yeah, only take a minute. So, they won't take too long. It's all flatten out of the finish. Couple of right-handers, couple of left-handers. And we're following Giuliano. And we've still got in that front group Corres, JPV still there too. And Mariano, he's the first attack now. Coming from Mariano, straight up the road there. So, he's another dropouts rider. We've got Muir still hanging in there. There's Giuliano in that red kit at the front as well. So we've still got Ryan Giuliano coming right to the front now. So he's going to have a crack. Here comes Boniface now. He's just about to launch his sprint as Boniface. We've got Boniface there. Severi, Muir as well. So Brett Boniface just being dropped at the moment. Muir's still off the front at 14 watts a kilo. Here comes Severi up to the right-hand turn. 200 metres to go to the finish. We're still with Conti there off the front. Muir, here comes Giuliano. He's still coming. Gilbert just misses.
Conti gets it. I think Conti gets from Gilbert.
Rider.
Well
So-
called, mate. Well called. I think Conti got it there ahead of Gilbert just at the finish. Conti went at just the right time, had the power up. We'll come back, of course, and get to replay that finish as well. We're going to jump back through some of the other finishes as well. So, it'd be really interesting to see that when we watch that in the halftime show. We're going to come back to that replay finish, of course, and run through the official results on Zwift Power as well. So we'll try and pick up exactly where these riders are at. They might have a lap or two to go. We'll try and pick that up as we jump back through. But 17.2 Ks would
1.5
suggest they've
laps
got
to go.
about 1.5 laps to go. So we'll stay with this pack cappuccino. We've got Kirsty Sheehan here, MDS coach, multi-dimensional coaching. I think I've got that right, Kirsty Sheehan. So I wonder if Kirsty's doing the double like her great coach asked her to do. She's one that
Let's
follows
hope
the bouncing
she
ball,
is,
so
Tim,
I'm sure
because
she
we're going to
is.
do a little highlight on Kirsty in the next race. So let's hope she's going to double it up this morning as she is on her trainer in Brisbane.
I wonder if Rooster had the IT issues this week, the poor bugger. So we'll see. But we're going to follow this pack all the way through. So they're just about to finish their second last lap and come through here. So a chance to pick up the power up you want, or a chance to dump the power up that you don't want right here. That's your last chance to pick that up. So here we go with 1 lap to go here. A mixture of B and C cat riders, Reina Torres and Bennett Del Santo. Del Santo,
Nicky
if you're
D.
Nicky
He's
D.
been in there before.
He's been in there before for sure. So they're picking up a few others. So Del Santo, they're definitely been in there before. But Kirsty Sheen and P. Vania, we're watching at the moment. We'll come back to some of those, Fran Del Santo. We'll come back to some of those riders in just a sec, or the results, I should say. Not just now, because we'll stick with the action here.
Yeah, absolutely. So the results coming through now, and these guys, they are on their last lap hitting these kickers, and a good size pack. There's going to be some good sprinting going on through here. Absolutely. So we just got Chua there, the Singaporean rider, Ryan still in there, and who else we got there? Kirsty Sheen still holding well in that group, representing the Colour Sports group as well. So, and Fran Del Santo, hopefully he's backing up the double this morning as well, because we're going to do a little highlight on him on the second race. And if you wanted to join that second race, jump across to www.coloursportsleague.com and we will get you in for next week.
Riders starting to get organised. There's no teams in these backpack. This is all pretty well about individuals. You see a lot of those teams in the front packs and toes and all sorts of things. More tactics. This is just all about raw grunt and who can suffer the longest, as Crit City is probably the hardest course you can do. It's basically just an FTP test with a lot of bursts in there as well. So Robinson now rolling through to the front. Looks like we've got Mia in there, 2 seconds working their way through to the front as well. Kirsty Sheen, you can see in there, Dodorsky and Rainer, Robinson and Northquist.
There's one rider just ahead that they're going to go past here, Gloria. The other riders are being lapped riders, so just rolling straight through those guys, and this is going to be a good one to call with only 900 metres to go. We've got Rainer and Renia, the turn taker, off the front there as well, and coming through in the pink kit looks like Robinson. Starting to see some numbers now, Tim.
Bennett moves through to the front. We've currently got an attack there by Derman team AHDR moving through to the front. Can Derman team hold them off at the moment? We're watching him at the moment as they move through on the Tron bike. Well-timed attack, 564 watts. Not sure whether they've left it 191 beats per minute on the heart
got a
rate.
long way to
Dalsano, 9.5 watts per kilo. Can they get it done down the outside? I don't know whether there's enough road left. Derman there holding them off. They take the right-hander in this pack. It looks like Derman's going to take the win in this pack. They're coming late. They're coming hard. But running out of road there for Del Santo, not quite getting it done. But we're going to roll back again and pick up some of the other groups coming through in the finish as well, because it's important. We want to, everyone loves a bit of a shout out, and it's exciting down through the back. That's what Zwift is all about. It's all about every rider. So we'll try and pick up a main group as well. These riders a little bit all over the shop. We'll see if we can't find a little cluster of riders as Kent winds his way through. What a great looking avatar that was.
A bit of mop on top there. Picked up a new mop last week, did that rider. So just following there with Torres and Salazar at the moment, pushing a couple of watts a kilo, and Rivera and a few other riders in there. Vic Tech, shout out to Vic Tech's out of the US of A as well. And a P. Anderson, definitely not Phil Anderson with that Canadian flag, but it's good to see Anderson in there.
Good chance while we just watch Torres here let's go through some of the results there of the top 10 of the Warrior race as well. We'll bring that up as Conti has definitely taken the win. So you can watch the action here while Greg, rather than looking at the top of his head, you can watch the action.
Yeah, absolutely. So Thomas Conti, we've highlighted him before, taking the chockies this morning, 23 minutes 20, so 40 seconds quicker than last night. He averaged 5.1 watts a kilo, as did the top three in the entire event. So really good to see there. Luke Gilbert taking second, always a regular performer, has won the race many, many times over. Ryan Giuliano just not quite getting it right at the end there, and always hard with Ryan. He's out there by himself fighting it against these guys. Ariel Savori, athlete we highlighted, Lionel Messi's friend, he finished in 4th place just off the podium. And Scott Gleason in there. Andre Vandenberg, haven't seen him in the top 10 before, so good to see Andre popping up there. He's a USA Cycling affiliate. And Brett Boniface in 7th place. Interesting to note about Brett, he had the highest watts per kilo. No surprise there. He pushed it off the front many times. Cormy Makio, a good mate out of Ireland, in 8th place. Warren Muir in 9th. And rounding out the top 10 is Michael Podzaline. And good to see him in there as well. Just a quick shout out to a couple other athletes, 11th and 12th there, JPV and Jack Polly, who are regulars in the event as well. So huge bunch finish.
What a cracking race that was, the Community Warrior race, as some of the riders finishing off as well. So we'll transition now to the halftime show. Stick around. We've got plenty more chatter to come, and another race to come, of course, the Colour Sports League race, 3 laps of London Classic, all going all the way through. So stick around, and we'll be back in just a minute.
And welcome to the Colour Sports League halftime show. I'm Greg McDermott, and with me still is Tim Ballantyne.
Believe it or not.
Yep, and on the broadcast is Cappuccino. And guys, I want to first have a look at, we missed the replay of last night's race in the verified race, which was an absolute ripper. So let's just throw to that. And Tim, you can talk us through what happened there.
I'm going to talk you through. So I won't do a spoiler's finish, but it was an incredible finish. You see all those power-ups as they came through here. Great little view. And we stuck with the right man here just to give it away. We had a big attack there early by Messineo, and then Alex West, you see there, just came through right at the finish. Right at the finish, he tucked on the inside of Messineo. The last 2 weeks, Messineo had attacked early, and he got so close last night. So close in that sprint finish, but didn't quite get it done, and Alex West just tucked up there on the inside. And I believe we also have the replay finish, Kent, of the race we just saw about 10 minutes ago, of course, in the community race. Let's have a look at that, Greg, and it's your turn to step us through what we saw there with Conti.
Yeah, absolutely. Huge pack of riders. I just missed Conti coming through, to be fair, but there was, look at all those orange-red numbers, 17 watts a kilo, 16, 15. So Conti came through there. Muir Giuliano was right there as well, and I picked Gilbert for the win, but he just couldn't get there, and Conti held him off by about a bike length, and then 2 bike lengths back to Giuliano. And what you'll notice there is how well those guys use their power-ups as they come through that finish line. They all flame out with about 50 metres to go. So great to see. A couple of outstanding finishes and a couple of regulars in the Colour Sports League and community races coming through over the last 24 hours to take the chockies. And Tim, you ignored me last night, but I'm going to throw it out there again. Is it the Roses or the Lindt that you're going to go for?
In terms of brand of chocolate?
Yep.
Roses or Lint? Well, Lint, you know what you're really getting. Roses, the Roses packet, there's always sort of some left over. So I'm more of a Lint bunny man. But speaking of, no, that's a bad segue anyway. So we've got, of course, starting next week, the 3-week series of the State of Origin between Cycling New South Wales and Cycling Queensland. We've got lots of videos coming through, which we'll put up through the week. Lots of riders throwing little barbs out there. So we're looking forward to the State of Origin. We're going to run through in just a second the point structure for that and explaining how that works. Yeah, so also we've just got about 11 and a half minutes to go there, so we'll probably go across and join the paddock pretty shortly in the Coa Sports League race, where we'll be doing rider cards and, of course, a ride-through of the London Classic course. But just to tick off a few housekeeping things here with the State of Origin series, I do have to refer to my notes here in terms of the point structure. So you'll go through, so you'll go into the verified race, and it's for Cycling New South Wales and Cycling Queensland. Financial members who can score points for their states, you've got to go and put New South Wales or Queensland beside your Zwift name, so you can absolutely get included in those results. So the point structure would be you get 10 points for first, second will get 6 points, third 4 points, fourth 3 points, fifth 2 points, the first unplaced female 2 points, and just for finishing the race you get a point for your state. So basically the more in the merrier, and it's down on a round by round basis, so it's not accumulative or anything like that. It's just head to head, round by round. So round 3 could be a humdinger if it's all on the line. And the term dead rubber in State of Origin, there is no such thing, because State Pride will be on the line all the way through, and we're going to be bringing you some pretty funny videos as well. So looking forward to that, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. So now one thing to note, if you are going to join that State of Origin series from New South Wales or Queensland, make sure you have New South Wales or Queensland in your Zwift name. Otherwise, the guys cannot pick up your result. So just be guided by your state entity there on what to put in your Zwift name as the series rolls on.
Yeah, and shout out, of course, to Training Peaks, who are sponsoring the Coa Sports League now and sharing the stream. We're looking to really step up our involvement with them. Of course, we are 3 full-time coaches, level 2 coaches, with Training Peaks been coaching for a long time. Lots of endurance athletes as well. To throw in a shameless plug there. So if you are looking for some coaching, reach out to us. And starting next week, we're going to bring some athlete data into this show. So I'll put it out there, one of the athletes I coached last night said at all-time new FTP, it was pretty phenomenal performance, and been on a really steady improve. So we'll bring stuff like that in, go through intensity factors, and try and just put in little facts about what's going on. But we'll wrap up the halftime show and get into the pre-race for the Coa Sports League race, just coming up in about 8 minutes' time.
Let's rip in. Yeah, another ripping little halftime show there, as I have a dinosaur on my shoulder, but good to see.
Can we just cut that audio?
It's good to see. So it's what we're going to do now, guys, is give you a little bit of a preview of this London Classic course that we're going to do a couple or 3 laps of, actually, as we roll around. Nice flat course, see all the sights in London, but let's click over to that capper. Tim, you can talk us through a little bit of this, and then we'll do a little bit each.
After a pretty solid lead in, they'll head out here onto the red carpet and work their way around the London Classic course. So pretty flat. A couple of little moments here where it does kick up, of course, and we'll go through that in a second. But an opportunity here, certainly early
Tim's
part
house.
of the lap, and you'll pick up just a chance to hit the heart rate down. But this is where sort of just a chance here to ramp up, just here right now, 3, 4, 5%, and then they roll across the top and things settle down. So one for the sprinters as well.
Yeah, definitely. Really a flat course, obviously the Classic with the QU in it. So great course to get involved in a group. You can have a little push off the front and try and break a few legs if you can. You'll hit this little 180-degree turn just coming up here, and then you'll see here, Tim, what's this kite called? That's the Flamme Rouge. So you roll through that. That signifies 1 kilometre to go. You hit the red carpet again, 300 down to the finish.
Yeah, 300 down to the finish. Lots of big power-ups being played at that point, of course. It's about it's 22 kilometres around the 3 laps and 120 metres total, so not too much climbing all around. So you'll see potentially some groups working together. Much lower numbers, of course, in this league race than the community race, but these are for private events, so a chance for you to get involved in the league. And sometimes these races with smaller numbers actually make for more exciting moments as well, because you get groups of 3s and 4s really throwing it down at various stages. And let's have a look at some of those riders now.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see some really good packs and get to highlight some really good riders as we go around. So a couple of athletes that I know just backed up from that Crit City race. First one we're going to highlight is the man by the name of Mike Leadbeater out of New Zealand. This man has built and built and built. There's a good little mountain biking shot there as well. Mike's 178 centimetres tall, 73 kilos, 53 races under his belt, and picked up a couple of silvers or second places in his last 10 starts. He's really building through this series. His best 2 ever performances in e-racing have come in the Koa Sports races, so watch for him. It's about 20% higher, and we'll call that the old broadcast FTP as he rolls around as well. He'll be a few lengths back when the finish comes up, no doubt about it. I've had a good look at his data, but watch for him in that sprint to the finish. He will be absolutely ripping it up, and always good to see our friends from the Long White Cloud joining us on this race in the Koa Sports League.
Yeah, speaking of which, of course, Anzac Day just coming up. It's Anzac Day tomorrow, if you don't mind. So good to see you switched on. So it's sort of, a really important holiday or day for Australians and New Zealanders. So Kirsty Sheehan, we're going to have a look at here now. We actually saw her in the race. Hopefully she'll jump across and do the double. And that's Kirsty there running out on the Queen K in Ironman Hawaii. Her achievements and accomplishments in endurance sport are no mean feat. One of the real quality age group athletes on the long distance triathlon circuit. And really impressive person, really great person, Kirsty. So, a coach herself at Multidimensional Coaching, if you want to check that out, and knows a fair bit about nutrition. So just a couple of races to her name. We've actually, as a coach, just introduced her to Zwift Racing and really trying to get that FTP up. So a perfect example is Kirsty. We're definitely trying to work on her bike at the moment and close that gap on the Queen K and sections. And we're literally using Zwift Racing to form part of that improvement curve so she can perform better and move much closer to that fruit bowl over in Kona. So this is where Zwift Racing translates to the real world, out on the big stage. So good luck to Kirsty backing up here. Let's see if she can get it done here.
Yeah, awesome to see, and always joining us now week in, week out is Kirsty. Just having a look back in the paddock, we've got 4 minutes 20 to race start, and a couple of comments coming through there. Good to see Rusty Devlin tuning in there, and the great Tommy Morwood chiming in with a couple of comments as well. And a shout out to a man I never thought would dial into our broadcast, but the great Mr. Sir Terry Bywater coming in hot from Sydney. So good to see you out there, Tezza, having a look. And let's highlight our third and final rider for this race here around London Classic. This is a man who just raced Fran Dal Santo, and not to be confused with the great Nicky Dal, Tim, but Fran is another Argentinian rider that's joining us now, another member of Team ZF and another ex-professional racer. He's just recently got into the Zwift Racing, 21 races in, a few top 10s in there, so he is definitely coming through. And another reason I wanted to highlight Fran, again, along like many other riders at the moment, his best performances are coming in these Zwift community races through Koa Sports League as well. So some huge numbers week in, week out, 20-30% improvement coming through. That will obviously taper out as we get further up the chart, but great to see Fran really building. He has a huge sprint, this guy, so watch him for a 16 watt per kilo sprint when the hammer drops. That will be really good to see. So good to see, and a great little photo up there. Looks like he's done a bit of photography in the past, maybe a bit of modelling like you, Kappa. Good little modelling mountain bike shot there. So let's throw back and check out what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So there we go, Greg. So just standing here to the other side, and you can see that paddock commentary. So before pre-race, you see a little bit of banter, and you can get involved with via the Zwift Companion app and put some messages of encouragement, or have a little bit of a whinge about whatever you want to have a bit of a whinge about. So 2.5 minutes to go here to the start of 3 laps of London Classic. We'll be back really shortly with the start of the Coa Sports League race.
So, Tim, we've seen a fit as we come back to the paddock. That BMC team machine is a phenomenal machine, and hopefully I'll be on a little new one later in the year. We're down to 3 bikes in our house, so we need to get that back up to 4 very soon. So, minute 10 to go. One thing that's coming through from a lot of riders is how do I go from one race to the other race? So, Tim, talk us through what some of these athletes are doing as they just jumped off a 120% threshold effort for 30 minutes, and they're about to do another one.
Well, you'd like to think they've done a bit of a warm up before the Warrior race. Some people, of course, coming in fresh to this race. Some people coming in with having burned a fair few matches. So we'll go through that. So obviously a really good time to get that high cadence going, flush out a lot of that work, get the heart rate down and recover. Essentially, that's the kind of concept. So it is taking some time to get people to engage. And I don't know whether you've done some of those 2-3 hour rides on Zwift. And I've signed up for 3 races at once and sort of built through the races. And then in the last one, really thrown it all down there and found that to be a really effective workout. So it can be just part of a 90-minute to 2 hour workout on Zwift where you mix it up and throw a few races in there as well. So that's why we try and keep this sort of 15, 20-minute-ish gaps. Maybe it's 5 to 10 for some, but of course can't please them all. So they're about to roll out here as well. We'll keep talking to that. So we'll have plenty of riders here. Again, not the big numbers, of course, we see as a league race, but we're looking to throw in different sorts of concepts as well. So they'll be here on the lead-in, and we'll pick up some of those names. But a nice tight pack, and it would seem we have a cold concept as well, which is good to see. So Tommy Morwood in there, and we'll see all these riders stay together. So just a good chance to refuel as well and get that nutrition, because albeit that Crit City race is under half an hour for a lot of people, you chew through a lot of calories and a lot of bickies in that Crit City race. So you don't want to be certainly starting this race too depleted, because by then you've probably been going for about 45 minutes. So time to get some calories in, some hydration in, and no doubt the floor is a little bit wet.
Absolutely. So a really good front pack here. We can see at least 3 riders in there from Team Relentless.
Kempson.
And Emily Kempson in there again as well, and Kirsty Sheen's in that front group as well. So I definitely saw her pop up there. And shout out to Tommy Morwood, who looks like he's now in the dirt DIRT kit, the red kit. So shout out. And there's Rusty Devlin in there too, Tim, sporting the Coa Sports kit as he goes around in that Warrior jersey.
Yeah, 21 starters here. Johnny Rocket in as well. So Johnny Rocket, of course, most likely streaming over on his pages as well, sitting at the back there in the yellow kit with the big disc wheel. D. Dermantine. Definitely he was in the finish of the what we just called there on the community race. I think that was the second finish we called, and he took the chocolates on that second finish. So backing it up, there's exactly a rider there that's gone out and doing the so-called double, which we're trying to push that concept as coaches onto some of our athletes as well, who we feel like are in the right training cycle to do such a thing and use that time to really build out what's a pretty intense 90-minute workout.
Yeah, so just as
unstructured.
Absolutely. So it builds up. So one thing that you get the advantage of is when you race early next week, you'll have that pain in your legs from this week. So as we we just drift down here, downhill a little bit here, and we're following Price there just off the front. And I did get Morwood's jersey wrong. He's actually in the Cole Sports jersey. I'll be expecting him to have a big finish and a good amount of Tron bikes in that front group as well, as we see an athlete, the Cole Sports athlete, just coming back to that group there at the back. So, and Rick Charlesworth definitely established in that front group as well. You'll see his heart rate, Tim, already at 147, so not much recovery for the great RC Ivany as he comes across, and he'll be ripping and a tearing as we go around. Only 3 laps here, so quite a short, fast, really good race. So
yeah, still on the lead-in. Of course, they've still got to come off the main strip and kick off. So not much of a lead-in, though, in Zwift Racing, is it, Greg?
That's the lead-in. We were only discussing this. We're going to put this to Eric on our next chat, and we think that any lead-in should have... What sort of car would you like? What sort of car? What would be your favourite car? Kappa? Favourite car? You're a race car driver?
My favourite car.
Yeah.
Wow.
Datsun 120?
No, I'd say a Nissan Silvia.
Nissan Silvia?
Yeah, I used to have
Nissan
one.
Silvia. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll run with... what am I going to run with? I'll have a Porsche 911 Boxster. Oh, not a Boxster, 911 Turbo. What would you go with, Tim?
Sanyong.
Sanyong, the great Sanyong. Sitting up in the driveway.
Surely it needs to be a Skoda, right?
Sanyong.
So our
drive a
idea...
Sanyong. They're a beautiful car. Great value for money.
Value.
I'm all
all
about value for money, Greg.
Absolutely.
Value for money. And just check
know
my
what?
coin jar. It's full.
But so let's get back before we put everyone to sleep. Our idea is that we should
thought that was
have
interesting.
a car off the front. And who are we going to get to stand out of the car to wave the flag to drop the hammer on the race? Who do you
Nathan
reckon?
Guerrera.
So he can, as we see Bickley there, absolutely punching it off the front, and T. Morwood coming across to get back to
Asking
his
the
wheel.
question,
So
definitely.
yeah, definitely stretching some legs out as they pass down through past the London Eye and away and around through London.
I'd say about half of the riders in this front pack just did the community race, just looking at some of the names, and some with fresher legs towards the back. So I'd say probably about half. So yeah, Kirsty Sheehan there moving along really well. You can see her heart rate, on Greg's screen there. But C-Dams here at the moment. Really important time maybe, Greg, to go through exactly what you're looking at on a Zwift screen, because often in some of those bigger community races where you've got avatars everywhere, all sorts of stuff happening, if you have no idea what's going on, chances are you have no idea what is going on. So with some of these events with smaller riders, it's a good chance to sit back and watch on your phone or your whatever device you're watching on, and learn from us and try and walk you through and try and educate through what exactly you're looking at and some of the tactics that you might see. So right now, we'll say with, unless we see an attack it here by Johnny Rocket off the front, but we'll try and watch these numbers go up. A good time to see some big numbers, Greg, up
now.
This ramp.
Yeah, 4% uphill. If you look on the
This is
right-hand
gonna hurt.
side there, 9.1 watts a kilo from Rick Charlesworth, and Johnny Rocket 8.2 watts a kilo. That's going to blow the pieces out of this front group. You can see that group starting to stretch right out now as they come up. 5%, they take a right-hand turn at the top of this hill. So definitely stretching the legs out here, and the Big E just coming straight through the front with Johnny Rocket. Tommy Morwood will be in there somewhere too. There he is coming across to that group. 10.2 watts a kilo from Morwood as he tries to bridge back across to that front four.
It's a brutal lead-in right there, because it blows the pack. So we probably might have lost about half the pack, depending if that other backpack. So yeah, look at that view there. So they're strung out. If you can dig deep over the next 60 seconds and bring this all back together, it will certainly make for a much tighter pack. But Tommy Warner with there not letting that happen. He's just applying the pressure at 5.6 watts per kilo and ignoring all instructions from the broadcasters. So shout out to Tommy there in the green socks.
So yeah, good shout out there to Tommy. And one of the things about the great Tommy Morwood, I have raced this man many times in sprint triathlons, and he has one way to go, and that is go. His whole motto is go until you blow.
I've just asked Kappa there to jump back, because I would assume that you've got a team there together, but also the heart rate's much higher back here as they try and bridge back across. But we've got all the relentless guys here in the same kit working together like a team time trial. They're going to have to try and work pretty hard to close that 5-second gap, because J Rocket, RC, Ivany, Bickley and Price, pretty handy riders. That's now stretched out to 6 seconds. So can they come across and close
close that gap. I'm not so sure.
Which rider from Team Relentless is going to stand up and take one for the team here? Because
there's not much scope there on that heart rate.
No, not with Harris, who we're following at the moment. So Dam's just rolling to the front there as well. So 4 watts a kilo ain't going to bring it back at the moment.
9.
So there's quite a big gap going out to these guys, but a group of 5 and 4 of them in the same team. So maybe they can get it together. But this group is charging along at the front, and they have about 300 metres to go before they go through that finish banner for the first time as they hit the London red carpet and Tim's driveway as they go up towards the finish to take the first power up as they come through as well. So this will be the end of the race where you see this sprint absolutely being launched.
And Stafford Williams there, TTT, yeah, exactly, team time trial with an exclamation point. Putting lots of comments through on Zwift Community Live, so we'll try to respond to a few of those. And Jonathan Giron, of course, having a red hot crack here live as well.
Just to drop back, Kappa, you don't have to do this right now, but I'm just having a look on my screen. There's 3 women within 1 minute 30 of each other. So we've got Kirsty Sheehan just coming through there, about 100 metres off that finish line. Emily Kempson just 14 seconds back, and then back to April Gillies, another 1 minute 25, and then back to Leah Smith at 2:55. So definitely a bit going on in that women's division here this morning as well. So good to see all those girls may actually come together.
Nice front pack here, Greg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 riders here in the front pack now. 19 seconds back to that chase pack there. Wow. And then another 20-odd seconds back to Kirsty Sheehan. So it was in that lead-in. That long drag was just enough to pop everyone and stretch them out and sort them out. But we've got 3 laps to go here. So the lead-in is done, and they are out here on the London Classic circuit.
Yeah, Morwood laid it down and broke the group apart and establish a group of 7 riders. So good to see. And we've got Johnny Rocket. He will be figuring in the finish. And it's good to see Rusty Devlin in that front group as well, along with Bickley, Price and Ivany still in there as well. So a few Tron bikes, which shows the amount of experience. And Tim, how do I get a Tron bike in Zwift?
Well, first thing you do, you need to sign up to the challenge, which is 50,000 metres of climbing. And of course, forums are full of people that go and do 50,000 metres, go to check their garage. No Tron bike. Uh-oh, you didn't sign up for the challenge, and that happens all the time. So, or you can be like Tim Searle, of course, of AHDR fame, and just go get 20 of those bad boys as you go on your way to doing 1 million metres of climbing or something like that. So unbelievable. So Rusty Devlin here, we're following here during the pack as well. We've got a little attack there off the front there. Johnny Rocket, 9 watts per kilo. Not too happy with how things were going right there. A response there by Rusty Devlin of 10.7 watts per kilo. So starting to ask the question, it was just right, they were riding too quiet, Greg. Riding far too quiet, and you get a look back at the other riders now chasing back. You'll see them come through here on the right-hand side.
Yeah, they'll have to burn it up again. That look at that straight off the front there is Bickley now, 8.9 watts a kilo. So
good
he's
stuff.
Just laid it down. So not sitting around here. Got the Big E, Tommy Morwood coming back. So it'll all come back together, but it'll burn up a few biscuits as they go through. And that chase group now, Team Relentless, we'll call that the team time trial of this morning. They're 35 seconds back. You will just see them in the far distance as Kappa spends the helicopter around as we go past Tim's house once again there on the right-hand side.
Which see me waving from the balcony. I'm on the balcony actually, mate, waving. But you've just missed that. We'll try and get that on the second lap. So nice pack here, and some new people now tuning in, and good to see Greg McDermott is watching in the live coverage.
That's
so
great.
Welcome along,
That's
Greg,
great.
To the broadcast, Aiden Sinclair as well.
Well,
so,
we don't know. I wonder what happened to Aiden this morning. He didn't figure in the top 10. I didn't even see him in the top 20. So he possibly could have had another trainer explosion, or he burned his legs out on that little warm-up he was doing in his pain cave from last night. So going around on his little dinky die as he spins it around the training room, and his dad giving him grief as he goes along.
Pretty funny video, actually. Him and his old man. We might have another sneaky peek at that at some point during this race, and because that was some pretty funny content. I said when I received it from Cycling New South Wales, I said it's so bad, it's so good.
That's so true.
It's one of those videos that was so bad but so good. So we'll try and check that out in a second. But starting to roll turns a little bit here in the front pack and certainly put a huge gap now, 44 seconds back, which will roll back to some of those groups in about 5 minutes' time and check them out. See Price here, not afraid to do some of the work off the front at 6.1 watts per kilo, do a lot of the work. In fact, you can see that drop in watts per kilo back in that pack, not having to work so hard to chase the gap. But now 2 seconds, Price moving up 7 watts per kilo, so really asking the question out, 521 watts, 175 beats per minute. So this is not an all-out attack. We haven't seen orange lights, but you don't want to be napping and letting Price going too far up the road here on 3 laps of London Classic.
Yeah, see a response there from Bickley again. Again, Bickley in that commando suit or the Army one, coming back across at 8 watts a kilo, dragging all these other guys. Rick Charlesworth still there, 4.9 watts a kilo, and Morwood still sitting in there as well. So group of 6 chasing 1 up the road, so no doubt they will bring it back. But as we go up 6% here, 10 watts a kilo, there's the feather power up. Someone's just been popped at the back. That looks like Morwood just hanging off the back there a little bit. He'll have to work really hard to get back to that group, and he's used his power up now as well. So he comes back across. He's a very, very hard worker.
And Bickley there, 3 seconds back. That's an awkward distance. That's almost heartbreaking distance because that gap's going to get more and more. So Bickley now needs to throw it down. Let's stay with Bickley. Not a bad heart rate if you don't mind as well. And that's about right, coming through those rollers trying to close it. So has to lay it all down there, 600 watts. And he's played the aero power helm up just at the right time. He'll probably actually slingshot through this group.
Straight through them,
unless
no doubt
he just
about
soft
it.
pedals.
He's got to try that heart rate, 203. Perfect. We don't know too much about Bickley. We have actually highlighted him before, but 203 beats a minute.
He's certainly not over 40.
Unless he's a 14-year-old, he is way over threshold. As we just pop back now to this Team Relentless time trial, as they just hit
4 riders. Yep,
they've 4 riders. They're about to hit that little right-hander as well.
What they might be doing, I saw the team time trial actually this morning on Zwift Community Live, and they might be doing even a little bit of practice and starting to roll turns, and they could genuinely be doing that and crafting that skill, which is all about what Zwift racing is about. So
they've got 4 of them in there, and Derman team from AHDR in there as well, who is spoiling the party, if you like to say. So this front group now, group of 7, back together. They're all there. Bickley just rolling through to the front again, so I don't know what quite he's doing there. He needs to recover as they come through the Flamme Rouge, and they'll hit the red carpet again and have 2 laps to go.
Yeah, 2 laps to go indeed. So not a bad time there. I don't know if Kappa, if you got that video last night of Aiden Sinclair and his old man. We'll have a look at that and be back shortly.
Queenslander, come on boys!
What are you doing? You're watching your last success? Yeah, that was all the way back in the last decade.
Mate, what are you wearing? You are a disgrace. Mate, you come from a Queensland family.
New South Wales all the way.
Mate,
up the cockies.
Yeah, go and get on your bike.
Yeah, I'm not Hey everyone, I'm Aiden Sinclair. I'm from Newcastle, New South Wales. I race for Oliver's Racing on the road. Join me in racing the Cycling State of Origin Series, brought to you by Cobber Sports. Let's give it to the Caneto.
Mate, I thought you were supposed to be grounded. What the hell are you doing? You got no chance against us,
I'm actually on the bike. Come on.
Mate, look at him, man. Go the Queenslanders! Queenslander! Go, mate.
So just finishing the first lap on the course, so 2 laps to go. So that will form part of the finish right there. That's a humdinger of a video, and we've certainly got some more in the library coming through from other state riders, which will flesh out over the week. So if you haven't followed Cycling Queensland or Cycling New South Wales yet on social media, I've got some inside knowledge. They've got some pretty funny stuff rolling over the next 3 weeks because, of course, kicking off next week is the State of Origin Round 1.
Absolutely. Cannot wait for that. And our jerseys are being delivered today, Tim. So you have got an extra small, and I'm going to cut the arms off it so you can wear it as a singlet.
I should actually say, because there's probably some people over the world
that
have no idea what it is. And how about you, as a man that knows it much better than Kent and I, put some context around what exactly the State of Origin is.
Let's do a bit of history, a bit of a history lesson. So started, I'm going to guess here, 1984. I was a 3-year-old. New South Wales Rugby League took on Queensland Rugby League, so head-to-head.
Rugby League.
And from the first moment, it was hatred. So state versus state, mate versus mate. That's how they build it.
So two states in Australia.
And going back, the two biggest states... Oh, sorry. No,
Excuse
it's not. I shouldn't say that. Anyway, so two states in Australia going head-to-head. And from the first minute of that tournament, there was fisticuffs.
They hate each
And
other's guts.
That's what brings the broadcast to, like, everyone just... Even if you don't watch a game
biff.
of rugby league, you want to see, bring back the biff. And it's very, very interesting to watch. I know it has been broadcast into the States before, and they're like, these guys smash each other and they don't even wear headgear. So
It's Australia's
that's where-
biggest sporting event.
It is.
Yeah, the 3
year
weeks
in, year
combined.
out. So that's where the background comes from. Now, clearly this year we are not going to have the state of origin that we would normally have in rugby league with world events going on.
Be later in the year.
And maybe a bit later in the year. But Cycling New South Wales and Cycling Queensland have picked up the bat and ball, and they are off to the races.
I think Volandis wants to put it this weekend.
He probably should. He's got nothing else to talk about. He doesn't even have a CEO anymore to talk to. So anyway, that's a bit of history on the state of origin. Now, back to this racing. This front group of 7 is still together. Now, in front of me, Tim, I've got Brad Bickley's data up in front of me. So we saw him pushing 202 beats per minute just not too long ago. Now, that is genuinely right around his max heart rate, absolutely. Now, most interesting thing to note about Brad is his results have come through from the Koa Warrior race that he's just done half an hour ago and set his highest ever average wattage for that event. So
Is that
a
right?
huge,
And he's out here
huge-
now?
Yep, a Canadian athlete. So he's on a Thursday night in Canada, and he will be absolutely feeling it right after this race.
Yeah, unbelievable. So they're just taking some turns here, rolling around the back section here. So 13.4 kilometres done and 17 and a half minutes. But a little chance here where they've got a little bit of a ramp and some stretch in the legs. I think this was about where we saw some attacks there on that first lap by the likes of Johnny Rocket as well. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we see up the road over the next few minutes. 318 watts there being pushed by Bickley, recovered really well. 185 beats per minute. So this is where you've got to be careful with heart rate, not only as a coach, but if you are watching, don't apply your own thresholds when you're looking at other people's heart rate. So I look at 183 and think to myself, I basically got my tongue on the floor
I'd be
at that,
dead.
and that is max. But of course, for Bickley, we know that there's 20 to 25 beats per minute of scope there in that threshold heart rate. So
Yeah.
be very, very careful when you're looking at people's heart rates that don't just apply your own ticker or circumstances to other riders, because it's very different with age, it's very different with all sorts of reasons. And if you've got a pain cave with a bit of aircon, which I like,
That'd help.
that helps too. That helps
That'd
too. So there's all sorts of factors that contribute to different heart rates.
Yeah, so one of the biggest factors involved with it, now this isn't for everyone, but is age. So I can see Bickley is under 30 years of age, so that will help
That
have
helps.
that naturally higher heart rate. And Aidan Sinclair, being a 12-year-old, he pushes about 210 beats per minute as he
Maturity.
rolls around, and that will no doubt come back. But just looking at the video of Aidan on his TT bike there in the pain cave with his dad giving him a bit of grief, he ain't carrying too many spare tyres around the lummox, I'd have to say. Young Aidan, he's looking in very, very good shape.
Ivany just rolling through here at 8.1 watts per kilo. I think
That's an
that's
attack.
definitely an
Up the
attack
hill
there.
again.
9.2 watts per kilo. Just using some of that momentum on the down. And there, yep, definitely Ivany there. 10 watts per kilo. Not liking the nature of the last sort of 10 minutes of racing. It's been a little bit of a sit-in fest. And 9.2 watts per kilo by Rusty Devlin, and Tommy Morwood responds at 9.5. That's going to test the likes of Bickley, who definitely burn a match on that other lap. And we saw about this point. So they're starting to play that draft bus there. Moving through on the outside is Tommy Morwood, going to roll to the front in the green shoes, easy to identify, and he rolls to the front, and the response there by Big E, C Price, Bickley there, and Devlin 1 second back, going to come back together, and there's about 1.5 Ks to go here on the second lap.
Yeah, so big efforts being pushed there, and you can see Morwood riding right through to the front of that group. He is coming in fresh. He didn't do the earlier race, so just bear that in mind as he comes up to the finish of this event as well with 1 lap to go. He just drifted back there to 5th wheel, sitting in nicely, and these guys burning up their power-ups now as they'll pick another one up very, very shortly as well. So good to see 11 watts a kilo there back in that second group there as they come up that ramp as well. So just having a quick eye back on that Team Relentless group, if we might be able to jump back and catch some of those guys bit further into the event.
And had a few messages just come through on a few different platforms about people trying to join this event and they couldn't see it in the Zwift community, on the Zwift Companion app. This is a private event, so of course anyone can join. It's free, but you have to be a member of the Koa Sports League. So one of the benefits here of being a Koa Sports League member. So make sure you check that out, and we'll just be back for a short break, and of course catch the final lap here in the Koa Sports League race.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in 1 second, but just coming through, they're on their final lap, this group, so
Can't wait for the
great
finish.
to see. They're going to be ding-and-dinging on the way to the finish line, and a big ride-on bomb just being dropped there by someone who's watching along, and great to see. Now, Tim, how do I join the league?
www.koasportsleague.com. Head in there, join the league. You can go the extra mile and verify with the league, which over half the members are doing at the moment, which is great to see. And really sort of been involved in racing that you can probably trust the results as well. So, good to see people really getting behind that. So, lots of different members, lots of benefits as well. We do, of course, group workouts.
Absolutely.
And they're structured, and they have a Zoom call, which we've been doing for a couple of years. It has been great to see other individuals and coaches and things embracing the technology and realising that, you can do squad sessions from the comfort of your own living room. Of course, nothing beats the wide open roads. I think when I was living in Melbourne, I went from 0 to 25 in a couple of years in terms of levels on Zwift. And it's taken me 2 years to add 5 levels. So it's fair to say I do most of my riding outside, living on the Sunshine Coast. But, there are benefits here. So the structured workouts, they're a bit of fun, Greg. We
they're a bit
go
of
through
fun.
all sorts of stuff.
Fun would be one word, Tim, and the other word would be absolute hell. So there's definitely some hard efforts in those workouts, and we talk the athletes through there with some tips on how to ride on a trainer and how to ride on a bike in real life as well. So definitely tune into that. If you're going to join the workouts, just do that by joining the league first, and the workout links will be in there along with the Zoom call as well. So you'll be able to join in all the fun, all the action, and we do often have a bit of fun. And one of my highlights of the week in the group workouts is to highlight the best man rug that's going around when athletes start to jettison their jerseys and hopefully don't throw them into their trainers. Zach Anstey not included.
Maybe a little chance, so there'll be some quiet riding here for the next 5 minutes. We might just jump back and see some of those Relentless guys, 204 back, and even some of the other riders back. We'll give a few shout-outs, hey? So we've got the Relentless riders there still sticking together, and Dermot as well working their way up there. We've got, we'll jump back, just keep on jumping right on back through unless we see anything big off the front as well, as we see orange lights there. Great timing there from Bickley. So well done. And April Gillies there, of course, great Koa Sports warrior. And we've got Broken Spoke from Broken Spoke, one of probably Guerrera's friends. They're about to finish their second lap, I'm going to say, here as well, and we'll try and find our way back through to the front of the race as we click through. So so good to see other riders still out on course, and we're all about completion. I know last week we had in the community race we had 313 starters and 289 finishes. Huge. And I think about the average is about 60% on racing finishes, and we're holding well and truly in the high 80s. So really great to see everyone finishing the job.
Righto, let's throw it around here to you two. Give me a winner out of the front 7, please.
Ooh, that's a really good question. That's a really, really good question. I'm going to go with Johnny Rocket.
Oh, you took mine.
Oh, well, there you go. You can choose the same.
No, you can't choose the same. You can't do the same. I'm going to call Devlin. I'm going to say Rusty's got
Rusty.
it.
Okay, so we're going with 3 fresh riders, which is good to see. So I'm going with Morwood. He has been absolutely tearing the house down, and I believe he got a little bit of a refund check from a race that he did, and he's pushed himself a new little, not a kicker, a great new trainer, the Taxonio, coming into the Pain Cave at the Morwood household. And if you haven't checked out Tommy's Facebook, have a look. Him and his young boy in there getting it done together, and great to see.
So as we know now, Morwood and Rocket and Devlin can't win. They can't win.
Out.
You can put a line through those guys. They will not win because, of course, the winner will come from somewhere else. And Bickley's shown some big efforts. We've got Big E in there. C Price has rolled through to the front. Maybe a little bit of a smoky. Apologies if we have obviously had him jump in some of our races before, but certainly as well. Rocket will win from Dufford William. He's been sitting at the back doing 1.1 watts
as
per
he
kilo.
goes to the front.
Here he goes to the front here at 8.7 watts per kilo through these rollers. Will we see some power ups for a response? Bickley now responding. Tommy Warwood on the outside, and Big E in that big red jersey just rolling through with that power up sitting above his head.
Yeah, huge numbers again being pushed up that little climb. Take this right-hander. We haven't got too far to go here, so these guys are going to fight it out for the finish. And great to see this group has all stayed together, even though they've fired off a few salvos at each other as they've gone around. We've got about 1.5 Ks to go. We go down this stretch, take the 180-degree turn, hit the Flamme Rouge on the left-hand side there at the moment, and then we line up for the finish.
Yep, you got Big E just rolled to the front and now rolled to the back. So you might see some lower wattage over the next minute as the tactic starts to kick in. Riders trying to maybe just get those heart rates down, flush the legs a little bit with a higher cadence. Just try and settle everything down so they've well and truly got everything that they need.
Yeah, and a shout out to Leah Smith. She'll be at home watching on her trainer in Sydney. We're just about to come past Leah, and she's out there absolutely smashing it along. 3.5 watts a kilo I just saw there before. So good luck to Leah as she will take on her third lap as these guys give her a little bit of wind burn and a tap on the shoulder as they come through.
You can see that banner, the Flamme Rouge there up ahead. So about a kilometre to go here in the Coa Sports League race, and they're starting to line up and work their way through. Big E rolls to the front. Johnny Rocket there sitting about third wheel. No, I wouldn't be surprised if Bickley's rolled through to the front, and Bickley and Price seem to like the front of the pack, and some riders just have particular ways they like to dictate races. So Bickley there in the front in the camo kit. Tommy Morwood there the back, and Big E responds through there. Moving through there, Big E, 7.5 watts per kilo.
Bang, he's gone. Price is gone now. 9 watts a kilo from Price as he comes back up to the wheel just to bring the Big E back. And then Johnny Rocket still sitting in there, and Ivany there, Morwood still sitting in is Morwood. He's my tip, so not too far to go. 400 metres to go. Tim, you call him home.
Yeah, Price here off the front at 9.5 watts per kilo. Bickley there in the camo kit responds. Morwood there on the inside in the Coa Sports Warrior kit in the green shoes. Johnny Rocket there sitting fourth wheel in that yellow kit. Watch for him in the big disc wheel. They're starting to line up. We've got a Bickley Aero helmet. He's got his head down at 14 watts per kilo. You can't give him too much rope. Johnny Rocket now lays it down at 15 watts per kilo moving through. Can anyone get Johnny Rocket? He's got his head down. We're going to stick with him. Big E could respond. We got C Price at 11.6 watts per kilo. Looks like Price might come up on the inside. And we've got a late charge by Ivany. Ivany rolls over the top, and of course the kiss of death has done it again. Ivany has got the chocolates.
He was my second choice.
He
has got it. Ivany just absolutely smoked it there through Johnny Rocket. Johnny Rocket just went through, and that Aero helmet came in handy in the end. So great to see. And yep, a really good finish. So I don't know whether we got that on replay, Kappa, but it would be good to actually watch that back, because Ivany was just sitting one out and one back, as I like to say, for the majority of that race.
He was, and absolute kiss of death on all those three athletes. And Ivany, with one of the best time power-ups I've ever seen, just came absolutely flying through. We saw Johnny Rocket go up 15 watts a kilo from Johnny the Rocket in that yellow kit. You'll see him bounce any second
There's
now.
Bickley with the first power-up.
They just started to see that finish line. Bickley probably spent a few too many bickies early. Tommy Morwood there, 12 watts a kilo with the Big E as they tried to bridge back across. Even he's still sitting
Look
in
how
last
far
place.
back he is.
Yeah, still in last place. And then his sprint comes right about now. 15.4, 16.5 watts a kilo. Plays the aero perfectly.
Look at
rolls
that.
over him
Power
right
up.
on the finish line to take the chocolates. The Lint Bunny is all his this evening over in Canada. So well done to Rick Charlesworth. Great to see him take the bickies. So let's wrap it up, guys. A huge morning here in Australia. We're looking forward to seeing you all join the Coa Sports League very soon. www.coasportsleague.com. We'll see you next week on the action.